Page here, guys, taking a look at a pretty cool watch I picked up today. Finally received it in the mail. This is the G-Shock GWA1100R-4A. What a mouthful. But the significance of this watch is it's an all solar power watch. It's it's out of the gravity line. It can withstand supposedly G forces. It has auto correct. It corrects itself on the hour, I believe. It supposedly has gearing on the inside. It has an LED, on the inside of the watch that you can't see, but it supposedly shines that light into the gearing, and if they don't match up, it corrects itself. And it's pretty accurate. Global positioning. It's got you can look all the specs up. It's got a lot of stuff going for it. The stuff that it doesn't got going for it, it doesn't have no light at all. This watch is solar power strictly. It's got a This doesn't have a battery in it to my knowledge. I believe it's straight up solar power, so they didn't bother adding a backlight to it. I guess it would take too much power away from the actual solar power. I think most of their watches that are strictly solar power don't have the light option because it would take too much away from the actual, I guess, the power supply. But this ain't a cheap watch either, but that's another downside to this, being it's in their expensive line, their gravity line. It's not a cheap retail watch. You're talking $650 US. That's not a cheap watch. Granted, did I pay that? No. Realistically, if you shop around, you can pick this watch up at most places about $280 to about $350, depending on where you shop, and if you have some kind of a rewards program, or if you've shopped at that place, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper. If you have some deals or some kind of things, incentives at different places, you can pick it up a little bit cheaper. Place I picked it up from, I can look at this watch for 30 days, decide if I want it or send it back, meaning I can't wear it, but I can send it back if I really don't want it. I can look at it, decide if this is the right purchase for me. I ended up sending the second G-Shock steel back because I just wasn't satisfied with that rubber leather band. It just didn't appeal to me. That's the second G-Shock steel I bought. I really want to own that watch, but I'm just not satisfied with the price point and what I'm getting. So I sent that one back and I picked up this one, and this was the last one they had. I've had some complications with this watch thus far. When I received this watch, it was completely dead. All the hands were pointed at the 12 o'clock position, and it would not work. Shined a light on the watch, the second hand went back 2 positions, and then the watch died again. I literally had to charge the watch for the whole day. I went to work, put it in my window, but by the time I got home, which I worked 12-hour shifts, it was charged enough for me to mess with it. After getting it finally this evening to where I could mess around with it, it took me literally 20 minutes just to get the time correct, because it's really ridiculous, the functionality of this watch, what you gotta do just to get the time right. And now I've got the time right, but I don't have the day right or the date right or the month right, because it's saying it's the first. And I even used the auto adjustings. They have auto adjustings in this watch, and when you use the auto adjusting and you set it on New York time zone, it's off by 2 hours. Instead of it being 10:51, it was reading that it was only like 8:51 or some ridiculous time. It was off by 2 hours, so I actually had to go into the settings and readjust it 2 hours. I'm sorry, it was 2 hours in advance. It wasn't. It would be like 12 o'clock at night on this watch. I had to drop it back 2 hours, and by dropping the time back 2 hours, then I realized the date's off, the month's off, the year's off. So I think somebody else had this watch before I actually received it, judging by the fact that the watch was completely dead when I received it, and the fact that the year's all messed up, the the calendar, it's completely, I've got to go in and really adjust this watch and read the book and line all this stuff up the way it's supposed to be, because it's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to pull this watch out of the box, click it to the New York time zone. It's supposed to, everything is supposed to line up. The month's supposed to be right, the year, the date, and everything's supposed to be correct, but it's not. Everything's messed up on this watch. So that's just one downside I've seen out of the watch, but that's not, it just happens to be the one that I received. Other than that, I've got to, as I said, figure that out. But after I get that, it's probably good. I like what I see out of this watch a lot. I really like the Rescue Orange. It's well built, one of the nicer Casios. You know, really cool watch. As you can tell, I still have all the tags on it, but I'm probably going to end up keeping this one. This one, just when I got it, it was just like the Mudmaster. I was like, yep, I want this one. And a lot of people were asking me why didn't I get the more expensive Mudmaster, because I kind of figured I was going to buy another one that with the solar power options, and this one grabbed my attention. But that is it. And if you want to check out the actual model number, it's 5311. But the actual name of the watch, where you can research it online by Googling it or any other search engine, just type in GWA1100R-4A Casio and it'll pop right up. But it's pretty cool. I like it. This one is probably going to be one of the ones I keep. Only downside, like I said, no backlight. But let's take a look at the Illumination. Let me charge the light. I'll charge them so we can get I'll let you look at that while we're charging the lights. Going to be using a 300 lumen flashlight, just shining it in the bezels to get these powered up, just so we get a comparison, a good comparison. And we're going to kill the lights. And the other disadvantages, as I said before, no backlight. So you have no backlight at all in this. All you've got is what you have in there. And if it was exposed to light, that's going to light up, but you have no backlight with all the other G-Shocks. But there you go. Take it easy, guys.